Okay, when we left off on the last video, we had done step 9, which enabled us to create this form, supplier info. And on some homework problems, it's going to ask you to print. I will tell you, you don't ever have to print. If the Access textbook says print something, you don't need to print it because I don't want to get paper turned into me. Um, so, but what the point that they're trying to make with that particular step is that if you did want to print, let's say I want to go to a particular record, I can advance to the next record down here using the navigation buttons. I can search, maybe I know, let's say, city Terrytown, right? So if I'm back here and I know that the supplier's in Terrytown, but I can't remember their name, then I can do a find, right? So I would do Terrytown, if I remember how to spell it. And I want to look in not the current field, but any field or all fields, current document, like that. And then once I find the record, it found it for me, then if I wanted to print, just this one, um, what I want to do is go to File, Print, and when this comes up, I want to make sure that I choose selected record, right? That's all they're really trying to get you to recognize, is that the default is going to print all, meaning all 17 of these. I don't want that. I want to print just the selected record. So you don't have to do that step in homework, but that's what they're getting at there. Okay, so step 10 is how to, let me close this, how to create a report. Same thing as the form. Select the table that you want the report to be based on, create, and then this time instead of form we choose report. Reports open up in what's called layout view by default, and this, I'm going to close that property sheet, this column, each of these columns is in some cases too wide, some cases not wide enough. What they're saying here in this step is to automatically to change the width of all of these columns except for the company. So if I go up here to supplier ID and I want to decrease the width of this column, I can go up here and just double click like that, and it'll automatically decrease the width of the column based on that. And now if I try to do that here, let's say, because equipment is a little bit wider than category, right? So category is the column heading, but the entry equipment is wider. So if I go here and do that, you'll notice that I'm double clicking right now and nothing's happening. So this double click method only works for the width of the column. Well, the problem with that is that if I have an entry that's wider than the column heading, then it's no good. So it becomes a very manual process, is the bottom line. So what I want to do is just kind of scroll through and look for the widest item that's in my list here and decrease the column width based on that. It's very manual, it's very kind of archaic, but that's really the only way to do it. And that's what they're asking you to do in this step. And so you don't have to be perfect on this by any stretch. Just decrease the width a little bit on each of these and just make sure that you don't have any two-line entries. State, I can use this double click method because the column heading is wider than any of the entries. Now you can see a page break right there, so I probably don't really want that to break on that spot, so I'll do that. Almost done. This is incredibly slow moving, I realize. But decrease your column widths like that, and then you should be in pretty good shape, and you can see that it does cross 2 pages, which I think is what they ask you to do. So you have your report. Next thing then is to save it. So we'll right click on the tab there and do save, and this one's called supplier details. There you go. So you can close that. And then the last thing is to to close the table if it's still open. Compact and repair. You can do that from File, Compact and Repair. That will keep your file size, and then close, and you're done. Keep your file size down.